everybody, and welcome back to the Industry Podcast, an Esports Insider podcast where we take a look at the personalities in and around the esports space. I'm Riley Soley, and I'm filling in as your host today for a very special episode where I have the pleasure of talking to Viktor Wanli, the founder and creative director of Kinguin. How are you today, Viktor?
Great. Thank you, Riley. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming. So first off, for those who have been living under a rock, can you give us a brief rundown of what Kinguin is?
Well, I believe Kinguin is quite familiar for our audiences, especially in esports. We've been around for quite a few years now. We've been heavily involved in esports, also personally throughout my career, and Kinguin is still very active in the CSGO space. So, hello to everyone, and I invite you to Kinguin to explore Kinguin if you haven't done so yet.
Amazing, thank you. So what is Kingwood's current and historical involvement within the esports industry?
Oh, that would be a long one. That would be a long one, but long story.
We got the time. We got the time for it.
Yeah, and I mean it starts actually with my own person. As I started actually my first business, I started in esports since it was 2003. I started doing ESL and World Cyber Games competitions in Czech Republic and Slovakia. I was doing this for a while. Before I turned myself into e-commerce, and at some point Kinguin started 2013. And since then, we still continued our heavy involvement in esports. Generally speaking, I mean, I used also to have my own esports team in the past, so it was very natural for me to get in touch with all these great guys back in the days, and support them in their very early efforts. Whether it was TSM, Team Solomid, Cloud9, Fnatic, and all the others. So yeah, I mean, we supported all of these guys. There were episodes like TSM Kinguin, if you might recall as well. All the huge personalities, the top personalities we see now in the biggest teams. We've been supporting these guys. Later on, we turned into more support of esports organizers as well, like ESL. We did quite a few things with these guys. Our latest involvement is through more like community actions, community support. So that would be the Esports Performance Centre here in Warsaw. We have an esports lunch also in Gdansk. We continue to support individuals on the scene. We support a lot of, youngster movements, youngster initiatives, supporting talent in early stages, so it's very natural. It's in our DNA, we are always involved and we'll be keeping involved.
Yeah, definitely amazing. That's definitely a really experienced history within the space, considering a lot of the organizations recently are all quite new. So it's nice to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to the history of esports from the beginning. Can you tell us more about the Kinguin Legends tournament?
Oh yeah, so that's one of our newest initiatives, and I'm an esports fan. I watch esports. I watch CS:GO competitions, and we felt there is something missing out there. Okay, I'm not now the youngest generation around. However, our passion for the game is just as high as anyone else's. And we felt there is something missing. So we looked back at these, retired legend stars of CSGO. We talked to the guys and, discussed a possibility to put something together. The amazing thing, there was a common kind of like understanding and common wish actually for a similar project. So, it came very naturally together. So the Kinguin Legends is basically is a tournament for retired legends of Counter Strike, guys who you might remember from the past, from the very early days, Counter Strike 1.6 and beyond. And these were guys who managed to infuse the audience with huge passion and huge emotions. So you'll see these guys coming back, sharing some of their stories, and you will be able to catch up what's with their lives, basically.
And who could we expect to see competing at the tournament?
Oh, I hope I won't be spoiling now. Yeah, but one of my favorite actually, Heaton will be around. I mean, I never had the chance like to meet Heaton. I mean, I was a fan back in the days. We'll see some great names also as Pasha, Neo, Edward. Um, latest also one of the latest additions involvement with Kenny S as well. Yeah, so there will be really great names around. Also, my friend Michael Ella will be there. Yeah, that would be an interesting one to see his interaction with Pasha in specific. Like there are so many stories here.
Yeah, truly legends. So yeah, it's definitely named correctly. That should be a really, really fun one to watch. Do you have anything else planned around the tournament?
Oh, I mean, definitely there'll be more like fan activations. We as a company, we really focus on giving. So also for this tournament is giveaways. We'll have a huge giveaways. Ourselves, like as Kinguin, also some of our partners who convinced, you know, to do something also good for the community. So we'll have there'll be many giveaways.
So when is the Legends tournament?
It will happen now in September. I believe the date's now 14th to 18th of September. We'll have an announcement now 5th of September. I'm not sure when we are broadcasting this. So 5th of September will be the official announcement. We'll reveal the captains of the teams, the guys I just mentioned, their lineups. Their lineups actually will be very interesting, I think, for the audiences. Not only there are really these cool names as captains of these teams, but I think the lineup also will inspire the community for huge discussions.
So is this a one-off event, or are you going to be planning more Legends
Oh,
tournaments?
I mean, look, really, this really came very naturally, very spontaneously. So far, we would like to, have this edition. All the focus goes into this edition, and see if
Have a look at the outcomes, see if you think it would be valuable.
this is something others would be enjoying as much as we will do. And we'll see from there, right? I mean, I don't exclude. I know the guys are passionate to do more. They want to do more in the scene. So, but that's this kind of initiative is depending on these guys. Yeah. So we will go around. We'll go along with whatever they may decide.
Yeah, you find the right people for it, then who knows? So great. And I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but can you tell us some more about the Esports Performance Centre?
Oh yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite projects in esports. I mean, going back into my own days as a team manager, um, as a team owner, as a co-team owner. I've been a lot with these guys in action, right? So I have seen it all, like the preparations, yearly preparations, for tournament, and it was always a passionate discussion between the team members and the captain and the manager and the organization, and going back and forth about what kind of conditions to create for these esports athletes basically to perform, right? And each had their own opinions about this. The Esports Performance Center is a concept which is combining all these opinions, putting it in one place under just one roof. Um, there are nuances. I might just tell you just one very specific example. You are going into a gaming house, and basically, where are you? Are you at work? Are you relaxing? You don't see the you don't after a week you don't see the difference anymore, right? And this leads actually to a lot of psychological situations within the gaming house. So within the Esports Performance Center, we have separated these functions very clearly. You know when you are going to rest, when you are going to perform, when you know what your managers, what your coach, what your team members are expecting from you. So and we see it's working. One of my favorite moments when I go through the Esports Performance Center is when I see the guys in the training rooms and they are just in their socks, roaming freely around the building. They feeling just like at home, comfortable. So that's quite important, and we have quite lots of stuff actually going around here, around the boys and the girls in the facility, and constantly collecting feedback, right, about everything that's going on around them.
So you're trying to take like the stressful side of esports training out of it and just make it more of like a natural thing that they want to do more.
Definitely. I mean, the focus is on the players. That's the first and foremost for us. They are the most important. These are the guys who are going to win the tournaments for their organizations, right? On the other side, we also understand the organization needs where it comes to taking care of these guys, right? And giving them the conditions to have a proper training, but also this peace of mind, which comes along, and that's a big part of the equation here.
Yeah. So who's using the EPC currently?
We are almost constantly overbooked, and it's a good problem obviously to have, but on the other hand, it's like um, we would like to support a wider segment of the community. We want also to support these who maybe cannot fully afford the budget, to simply to come into the Esports Performance Center and enjoy the facility. Um, uh, so this is actually, it's an issue for us. However, generally speaking, we are usually being occupied by tier one, tier two, up to tier three teams in esports, from all kind of games. We have many of these situations where a division, for example, a CS:GO division of a team comes, and later on we see their Valorant or their League of Legends or their Dota teams coming in as well. Currently, the we have, for example, right now we have Fallen in the house. This I can mention also because actually he's communicating it himself. Part of the thing here in the Esports Performance Center all is discretion as well. One of our original misconceptions about the EPC was that this is going to be a place where the organizations and the teams will want to show off, basically. Yeah, have fans interactions, have content production, and so on. It turned actually to be exactly the opposite. The guys and the organization, they coming here, they don't want the word to go around about actually the place, and
They just want to hunker down and get the work done.
other thing is, like, we are just near the airport. We are about 25 minutes from downtown. Is that a lot or not? No, but we see the guys. They don't go to downtown. They just they are here. They came for this specific purpose. They came to prepare for a tournament. They going out from here to the international, winning few million bucks. I mean, that's the spirit, which that's their motivation, right?
So you treat it sort of like an esports boot camp to like get like in-depth preparation done before tournaments.
100%, 100%, yes,
Hmm. And so you facilitate pro esports teams to practice there then.
100%.
Yeah. Mhm. So do you have any future plans for the growth of the EPC?
This has been it's a lively discussion within the team all the time since the inception of the EPC, almost now it'll be 3 years ago. We would like to, however, we are not in a hurry. We are very confident about the concept, about the service, about basically the secret sauce we have created in here. So we are not in a hurry when it comes in expansion, and we wanted to have it right. I'll just give you a very specific example. We had we had a proposition actually to have the EPC in London. Yes, and we've been in talks with the very known and respected real estate developer in London, and because obviously there is a lot of town hall planning, with permissions and all this stuff. So we had the opportunity to be in two separate buildings. The buildings were just supposed to be 10 meters aside from each other, so it's extremely close. And one was supposed to be the training building, and one was supposed to be basically the residential. And from our observation of of the behavior of the athletes here in the facility, we knew this will not work. I just mentioned earlier the episode, the anecdote with the socks. How I'm going to enable them going in socks between the two buildings. Like this was
You want it to be like a hybrid space where they can live and play at the same time
Yes,
without
yes.
having to
But
worry
again,
about,
like
like,
the
the
boundary, the
disconnect.
boundaries are are very easily recognizable for the players themselves, are defined. Yeah, so we're still looking. I mean, if there be a specific good opportunity, obviously we are going to explore it. We are looking very closely at Berlin, even though it's not very far from Warsaw, but Berlin is an extremely interesting destination, for this kind of concept.
Lots of teams, yeah, lots of teams in Berlin.
Lots of tournaments, yeah.
S Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, not at the moment, but something you might look to in the future. You're kind of happy with this special thing that you've got at the moment and the way that you use that.
Correct.
Definitely, definitely. So, we actually saw some news around Kinguin helping Ukrainian players since the war started. Could you elaborate on how you're supporting these players?
Uh, Huge tragedy.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was very shocking for all of us that this happened in the first place, especially with our very close proximity to Ukraine. Um,
Yeah, and I know that Poland has been involved quite heavily in helping out
so
with the tragedies there.
as much as we were in shock, we realized this is very serious, and obviously the outcome was very unclear in the first few days and weeks. But the team spirit and the mentality here was, just like with most of the Polish nation, is that we need to contribute, we need to help. One of the very first actions of team members here is that they took their own private cars. They took whatever supplies they could buy from shops, and they just headed to the borders, to help these influx of refugees, general influx of refugees into Poland. And that was very natural. And the guys, they were engaged in this kind of activity for weeks. Every day. We have a group of people where they started actually with 5 private cars. In 10 days, they were expanded to 500 cars, and they were suddenly organizing this in software. Who comes and goes, who brings what, and who delivers what. We started obviously thinking also about more additional systemic actions, and options here too. We contacted some of these teams in Ukraine privately. We offered them, the place to come if they feel there is a necessity for that. And the same, we've been in contact with many organizations actually here in Poland and in Ukraine on the ground as well, offering help, for basically any refugees who would like, to use our facility, the performance center. Yeah, so I mean, in the facility we had all kind of inhabitants. We had mothers with children, we had families with dogs, we had esports players, we had ordinary people simply coming in, and it's still ongoing open offer. for basically anyone, you know.
So it wasn't just limited to esports players, esports teams, it was anybody who needs to use the facility.
No, no, no. Of course, it was limited. However, we wanted to be before anything to help that community, right? Because we realized, okay, this is a war. It's happening. You know, it might end soon. It might not end soon. Sooner or later, you want to get the back to we want to get to back to some sense of normality, in your life, right? For esports organization, that would be, to try to continue business as usual as much as possible, right? To help them, even, we realized that these guys will want, actually, after the initial shock and trauma, they will want also to help their motherland, right? How they are going to do that? Let's give them an environment they can also contribute, right? We had the Navy guys here and the management who also, Tanya, I remember in specific, they were so involved. They got into interaction with our guys who were organizing this kind of actions for Ukraine. They got involved themselves. It was funny because these guys were literally also even risking their lives. They were actually taking sometimes these cars inside of Ukraine, even up to Kiev when it was still surrounded by the Russian troops. Delivering food and medicine, to actually to children, hospitals and so on. Yeah, it's very emotional. It's still actually for
Yeah, I mean, it's not over yet,
no.
like, the media may not be publishing as many stories about it as they did at the beginning, but it's definitely still important to note that the war is still ongoing, and it doesn't really show an end in sight at the moment, so the work that you're doing, I'm sure, has been very valued. Like, it seems like you've done a real team effort over at Kinguin to make it as the best of a worse situation. How many, people can stay in the EPC at one time? How many does it house?
Yeah, that's a constant struggle for us, but our capacity is quite limited. So it's about 30 people who can basically. We counted this about to be 4 to 5 teams max. Because usually the teams also comes with the entourages of managers, analytics, coaches.
Mhm.
Sometimes they come with nutritionists.
Yeah, and
Uh,
physiotherapists. Yeah, sometimes they have full-on teams,
Yeah,
don't they?
we try to also to outsource some of these services at least on the ground, so we make it
Mhm,
life easier for them. And currently we have about 7 to 8 boot camp rooms, so that's for training.
mhm,
So when we have
mhm,
this kind of overbooking, unfortunately, it's happening all the time. We also use the help of hotels around the EPC to
mhm,
accommodate some of them if but again, we prefer them to be, and they actually prefer to be in the same building, But the
mhm.
capacity,
Under one roof.
unfortunately, it's not. We are not able to accommodate everyone.
And, how many, like, Ukrainian players specifically do you know, that you've had stay at the EPC?
I don't have the exact. I don't think there are uh, any current Ukrainian players in the facility at the very moment. I
Mhm.
don't think so, but I might be mistaken.
But you plan to continue supporting
Yeah,
Ukrainian players if they need to, yeah.
any esports organization. I mean, this is an open audience podcast, so any esports players, teams in Ukraine, guys, you are welcome. To come in. We're happy to help you and host you here in the UPC.
And how did they go about, like, contacting you about that? Is there, like, an email, or do they just contact you directly on LinkedIn,
Obviously,
or?
yes, yes. You may contact us on any through our social media channels. You may contact us directly. There is an email. There are phone numbers on our website. Through Twitter. You can contact us through the usual Kinguin, also socials as well. Um, we are quite, a very transparent organization, also from the inside. So no messages go unhidden or lost. Yeah, So I can guarantee that there will be an interaction from us.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, we've kind of blasted through my questions, but I do have one more for you. So, you described Kinguin as one of the first companies to sponsor teams on a very high level, including TSM, Cloud9, Fnatic, and Ninjas in Pajamas. So, what made you take the leap into what was at the time unknown territory?
Um, uh, um, to be honest, like for me, it wasn't unknown territory. I understood teams. I understood their struggle. Um, from this point of view, it was a no-brainer for me. Like these guys needed help, um, and I also believed in the value they can provide to us as well, right? So through this mutual understanding, I would say we managed, to get a lot of this value. So it was a very prosperous business relationship. Yeah, mutually beneficial for both of us. But I also know a lot of organizations which try to support the esports without, this kind of understanding and knowledge of the industry, and it might not be has been as fruitful for them, right?
So, it was like a passion project for you, more so.
Yeah, but also like look at this way. It's still even today we are heavily involved in the Counter Strike economy, for example. It's a significant part of our revenue as well. So for us, it's natural to be in this environment, right? Continuously since the very beginning.
Okay, amazing. I just want to say thank you so much for
Thank you.
taking the time to talk to me today. Victor, for anybody who wants to find out more about Kingwin, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find us everywhere. We've just been at the Gamescom now. Our mascot was going around there.
Are you coming to ESI London?
I myself, I have to see it. Depends on the schedule, but I would love to. I've been to ESI back in the day in London at least 2 times. From what I remember, it was always a great event. I always meet my old friends there and to meet so many also new faces. It's amazing. The content I also remember was amazing. Sam Cook and the whole team, you guys, you're really doing extremely good job. For the whole.
Yeah, well, we're so looking forward to ESI London. It's actually like next week now for us when we're recording. So we're all sort of in high pressure mode, getting everything sorted for that now.
Amazing. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. But it would be great to see you there if you can make it. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And thanks to everyone listening. And we'll see you next time on the Industry Podcast. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Bye bye.